wonderful fine couple. I had them come to my office, and I said, I know that God is using you. And I said, I know that there are other pastors who are watching you. And I said, let me share with you what we will do at the crossing. I said, this was a year ago now. I said, if you'll stay with us 1 year, we're going to bring you on full time as our youth pastors at this church. I know why you're not clapping. It means you got to give more money. I don't want anybody to steal them from us. I want them to be with us until God is ready to release them. Amen. Amen. And a phenomenal group, a phenomenal team, and the team that they have is a phenomenal team. We love you. We love your heart for our teenagers in this church and your heart for our teams around the world. Blessings to you. Go get it.
When he came to us and said that, we told him that whether we get paid or not, we're still here for the long run. And he told us that after, with school and stuff, that a few people would come and say, you know, things in our life that about leaving, about going to a different church, or whatever. And I thought it was kind of just, you know, a joke. And then it started to happen. And then it started making me realize how much I actually love this church family, because no matter what price tag they put on us, we're here for the long run. We love this church. We love you guys. When we were called into youth ministry, I thought that it just meant being with you guys, and then I didn't realize how much love that we would have for each family. It's more than just your kids. It's you guys. We love all you guys. We thank you guys. We are so happy that everyone showed up today, despite like all the stuff that's going on. We were very nervous. Because we did have a lot of people coming to us saying, you know, you guys are crazy for doing this, you know, if you not turn on your news and stuff, and but we serve a bigger God than the sickness is going on, so we're not worried. Come here, come back. She wanted to thank everybody too, so I'm gonna let her do it real quick.
I just wanted to thank the parents and the teens for still coming. I know that you guys didn't make the decision lightly, so we just wanted to say thank you, and thank you to the church family that came, and those who couldn't, we totally understand, so we just want to thank you guys.
Amen. I'm going to say one more thing about everything that's going on, and I'm getting off because I'm tired of seeing it all over the world, but Pastor, you hit the nail on the head when you said about the glimpse of the future, with what the church is going to go through, and at first it made me really nervous because I'm like, man, the church, we're not ready for this. Everyone is freaking out, everyone's panicking, but then I start seeing people that are going to stores and buying toilet paper and sitting in parking lots and looking for the people that are fearing and saying, you know, this is my mission field now. I'm going to make sure that every person that is terrified of this, I'm going to show them who Jesus really is. So it's awesome to see that the church is going to come alive in this. We were praying and we were actually thanking God for putting us in a season that we can actually make His light shine brighter than what this is really all about. So I'm done with the coronavirus, guys. But so I want to get before I get talking about what I'm speaking on, I want to explain something. We tried to have a 6-week purity series, and everything that could try to stop it was trying to stop it. I mean, it was sicknesses from the youth leaders, it was the weather, it was everything. Yet somehow we still ended up going through with it. Every parent, even in the blizzards, were bringing their kids out here, and it was amazing to see that. I think one service we had maybe 2 missing. We always had everybody there the entire time, so it was awesome. We did not get to go a full 6 weeks. We ended up going 4, and that's okay because what happened in that room, as uncomfortable as it was amazing to see what happened in teens' lives. So I want to explain before I get started on my message. I want to explain for the past 4 weeks we went through a spiritual battle during dealing with this period. We went into the ins and outs of everything that the Holy Spirit had led Katie and I and all the youth leaders to talk to these youth kids. I had leaders share personal testimonies of struggles and heartache that we still face today because of the things we did in our will and not God's. At times it was very uncomfortable for all of us, but if we do not teach what it means to stay pure, the world will teach them how to live in here. One thing I've learned in youth ministry is if we wait for the uncomfortable topics, most times we wait one day too late. We're going to look at a story later on of a man who resembles most of our lives here. He was chosen by God, he battled temptation, he failed, but God still chose him. Then we're going to move on with the ceremony later, and we're going to have everybody come up. And when I do call them, I just want to, so everybody understands that I will call the kids up, and I want their parents to come with them. All the remainder of the family, you guys can come up front, take pictures, but we don't have enough room for everybody, so just parents and kids. Before we get into the story, I want to share some things that I just shared with them for the last 4 weeks. God's plans for our lives command sexual relationship to be enjoyed in the context of marriage only. This plan is best, and this plan is difficult, but with God, all things are possible. I asked 3 people, and I think they're all 3 here. Hope, Lexi, and Jasmine Lindsay. Can you guys just stand up real quick? You don't gotta do anything, just stand up real quick. But I want everybody to take a look at these. Hope, how old are you? Lexi. Jasmine. 31 years old, 23, and 20. And all 3 of these women are pure today. For those of you guys that don't know, I work at a steel mill, and I was on a midnight shift one night. I was going to work, and Hope called me, and we were just talking about things in her life and stuff that was going on. I asked her if I could share this. She said yeah. And I was at Walmart. I could tell you exactly what I was looking at. I could tell you everything. And Hope called me, and she was talking about my testimony, and she was telling me how it's crazy that you went through the drinking, you went through the drugs, you went through losing your virginity before marriage. You did all the things. You have a testimony that it sounds great probably to people that have never went through anything. But then she told me her testimony, and it was, I never drink, I've never smoked, I'm a virgin, I'm remaining pure till marriage. I'm not going to do anything in my will, but in God's will alone. I'm not going to just go sing for praise bands that want me, but I'm going to sing when God tells me to move. I'm going to go to a prison but nobody else wants to go, and I'm going to minister to people that no one else wants to minister to because God told me to go minister to them. I'm going to do everything in God's will. And she told me that night, my testimony is boring. And I said, man, your testimony is way more powerful than any testimony I've ever heard. Because you remain through this. So when I look at these 3 women that just stood up, I have hope for my daughter who's 10 years old that sits there. And when I look at all the stories, and nothing against we've all made mistakes, whatever. But when I look at my daughter and I say, man, who can I show? Who can I let her look at and just stare at them and see who they are that they're meant to be in their future? I've got 3 people right here that I can say, Madison, this is it. Look at these guys. Look at their life. If they can do it, you can do it. And it gives me hope for our future of these young kids. I started doing a study because I want to show the youth kids something. That 40 years ago, the culture supported the idea that sex was supposed to be reserved for marriage, and today it's completely the opposite. We have a TV show, and when I looked up this in the magazine, I had to look up this to make sure it was real. And it's real. There's a TV show out there that's called, and it's literally just called Doing It. The TV show is an experimentation of 3 16-year-old boys that the parents take out to let them experiment before marriage so that they know that that's the right person. We have shows, and I know a lot of people know it, like Jersey Shore, that show men and women sleeping in the same exact bed in the same exact room with as many people as they can sleep with, just for the props that they want to have. That's the stuff that we watch on TV all the time, and that goes in our head, and we think that that's it. That's what it's supposed to be. And in my word, it says that for the bed to be undefiled. So I'm sorry, you can't be undefiled when you're sharing with a bunch of different random people. In order to see the teens stay pure, we as a church have to show them what purity is. We don't have to talk about it, we have to show them what purity is all about. In teaching this, we must not make sex out to be this horrible thing, but something that God created between a husband and wife, male and female. If you don't get anything out of what I'm saying today, instead of teaching this, we make this out to be for husband and wife, male and female. And I want you guys, if you do not get anything out of this, I want you guys to understand that boyfriend and girlfriends do not get husband and wife privileges. It's not just in the bed, it's in everything. In Matthew 5:27 and 28, you have heard that it was said, do not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery in his heart. And Jesus is telling us that sexual purity isn't about avoiding intercourse with someone who is married. It goes to the heart and the attitudes towards people. If we look at them lustfully, we've already committed an indecent act in God's eyes. So here's the one thing I got the entire time during the series. What if I don't touch them? Is porn okay? Is sexting okay? Is masturbation okay? Is a magazine okay? And my answer to it is looking's not okay, because when you start to look, you begin to think, and when you begin to think, you begin to sin. So don't look, don't think, don't do anything. The world that we live in has perverted the word beauty. And I'm going to give you an example of this. And Brother Ron Rose, you said to me in pastor's office one time, and I'm not going to lie, I cracked up, but I told everybody this after you told this to me. He said, it is not wrong to go and see a beautiful woman walking around a block. He goes, it's not wrong to acknowledge that she's beautiful. But what's wrong is when you drive around the block again. I'd probably use it with everybody I know a bunch of times together. In 1 Thessalonians 4:3 and 7, it's God's will that you should be sanctified, that you should avoid sexual immorality, that each of you should learn to control his or her own body in a way that is holy and honorable, not passionate lust like the heathen who do not know God, and that in this matter no one should wrong his brother or take advantage of him. The Lord will punish men for all such sins, and we have to live a holy life. Therefore, he who rejects this instruction does not reject man, but God who gives him the Holy Spirit. Does this not mean that sex is all condemned by God? It's far from it. God created sex. He created men and women with sexual organs designed to enjoy sex, but he teaches that it is enjoyed within the context and boundaries of a lifelong committed marriage. In Hebrews 13:4, it says that marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and the sexual immoral. Many other passages could be quoted, but the clear idea of the scripture is that God created sex to be enjoyed within the boundaries of marriage. But then the teens argued back and said some things that now I got to clear up. Why does God give me a strong desire, raging hormones, and then command us to be sexually pure until we are married? Yeah, exactly. Okay. But God's plan for us, for sex, was a benefit. But John 10:10 says that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. God knows the destructive powers of sexual relationships when they occur outside the commitment of a loving marriage. What was really interesting, and I wish I had the magazine or the book that I read this in, is it's not just Bible-believing Christians who are starting to understand this, but secular researchers are starting to discover that sex outside of marriage did come with baggage. I started looking up secular views with teenagers to see what they were all saying. Sexual active teenagers, and this is a huge number, sexual active teenagers are the first to be depressed and to attempt suicide. They hear the word love, they think that they made it, they think that every person in youth that has had a boyfriend so far that we've known have been in love 4 or 5 different times. Every person is the one. They know it's the one, they know they're going to marry them, everything. And I can relate because I was that guy. I was the guy that would say the things to make you feel that you were loved. But I was just that guy. There's 331 million people in America. And I got that on Google, so if it's not right, that's where I got it from. There's 331 million people in America. Teenage sexual activity is an issue of widespread national concern, and approximately 48% of American teenagers in high school, of the high school age, were already sexually active. It said that more than half of that percentage was freshman girls that tried to be sexually active just so that they wouldn't be unpopular when they got to school. Where's Tracy Boldy at? Oh, there you go. And I say this because she is our school children's ministry. This is people that are actually engaging in it, not from anything else. But 0% 6 of 10-year-olds are engaging in sexual intercourse, 1.1 of 11-year-olds, and 2.4 of 12-year-olds. are doing this. They're actively doing this. That's way too many. That's way too many. As a church, that number should make us disgusted by what's going on. We have to stop pushing away young, and we have to start discipling them. We need people who are seasoned to take these young kids and disciple them. The person that I want to talk about today is in the age range, they say, between 12 and 16. His name is David, and many of you know the story of David and Goliath. But there's way more than David's story. He was a man after God's own heart, and the Lord chose David. In 1 Samuel chapter 16, we see that the Lord sent Samuel to anoint a king after Saul was rejected. And at the bottom of verse 1, it says that the Lord said, I will send you to Jesse in Bethlehem, for I have selected a king myself among his sons. I want you guys to understand that today, that the Lord chose David. He did not look the part. He wasn't as big as his others or his brothers. He might not have been as strong as the others, but he was a man after God's own heart, and God did choose him. In verses 10 and 11, it says that Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. But Samuel said that the Lord has not chosen these. So he asked Jesse, are all these your sons that you have? There is still the youngest, Jesse answered, but he is tending the sheep. Samuel said for him, he will not sit down until he arrives. So check this part out. When I wrote this, or actually I wrote this a long time ago, and it got me all pumped up. Jesse answered that he is tending the sheep, which means that Jesus, God, set up David before time because he was tending his father's sheep until he began to tend his father's sheep. We see a part that he's constantly a server. He's constantly serving because he's getting set up for what's to come. It reminds me of that quote that says, if serving is below you, leadership is beyond you. We cannot be who God has called us to be if we can't serve. In verse 13, we see Samuel anoints David in front of his brothers. From the day forward, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. And I use that part of the story for the facts that God chose David, not his friends, not his family, not the youth, not the church, no one. God chose David to do what he has called him to do. Now, most of us have heard the story of David and Goliath, and bear with me, I'm going to make this all tie together very shortly. But 1 Samuel chapter 17, I'm going to paraphrase this, David was the youngest of Jesse's sons. One day the nation of Israel was called to fight the Philistine army, and they had gathered for war. While David's brothers went to fight, young David stayed back. The two armies gathered to stand on the opposite sides of the deep valley. A great Philistine giant named Goliath that stood at over 9 feet tall came in front of the Philistine battle line each day for 40 days and mocked the Israelites and their God. Goliath called them to fight, but King Saul and the Israelites were scared and did absolutely nothing. David was sent by his dad Jesse to visit the front lines and bring battle news back from his brothers. David heard Goliath mocking Israel and their God, but he was brave and he volunteered to fight Goliath. He persuaded King Saul to let him fight and decide to not be weary of not wear any of King Saul's armor. David carried the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel. David put the rock in his sling and he swung one of the rocks at Goliath's head. The rock sank into the giant's forehead and he fell. David then picked up Goliath's sword and used it to kill him and cut off his head. So we see that God chose David. God anointed David. He used David in many and mighty ways. He chose him to slay the giant. And that's where this is all about the tie in purity. He slayed the biggest giant, the biggest and baddest dude of the Philistine army, but he could not slay the giant of sexual temptation. In 2 Samuel 11, we see that David is relaxing, and he is walking on the palace roof when he sees a beautiful woman bathing in her room. David was immediately drawn to her. He sent messengers to find out who she was. The messengers returned and told David that her name was Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah. Despite David knowing that she was married, he sent for her and slept with her. Bathsheba later sent word to David that she was pregnant. David was nervous that his sin of adultery would now be found out. The king called Uriah to come home so that he could spend the night with his wife. His wife can cover up Bathsheba in the sin that now she was pregnant with David's child. However, Uriah refused to sleep with his wife while the fellow men were all fighting. David, filled with anger that the plan did not work, when Uriah went back to war, King David sent a note to the army commander with instructions to have Uriah put on the front line and to withdraw so that he would die. Bathsheba mourned her husband's death and was then brought to the King David to be his wife. So the story of David and Bathsheba reminds us of a great man who was called by God, yet he still struggles with sexual sin. how a man after God's own heart could fall into sexual sin. And I came here today for a purity ceremony, but God gave me a word for the man just like David, for the woman that's just like David, the one who's wanting so bad to do the will of God, but can't fight the sexual temptation. Many of us went through it, and it's hard, but the word says with God, all things are possible. You have a man who was chosen and anointed by God, who slayed a giant, he fell into temptation and committed adultery. To the same man that cried out in Psalms 139 and 23, verse 24, search my heart, O God, and know my ways, and try and know my thoughts. See if there be any wicked ways in me, and lead my life to everlasting life. And we sung all the love that God had for David, despite his fall, that God promised David descendants to rule on the throne forever. That everlasting king is Jesus, the Messiah, the son of David. When we were doing worship today, I was praying, and we were going into all this, and Pastor, you came up here and you asked people if they knew who Jesus was. And then you came back up here and you asked it again. And God laid it so strong in my heart that there's people in here, you guys don't know who he is. You guys might have heard of him, you guys might have read about him, but you don't know him. And don't let today go on, don't let today finish without knowing who he really is. I'm going to ask for Brandon for you to grab all of the students and parents to go to the back. But I want to offer that to anyone today for prayer. That if anyone in here that needs Jesus as their Lord and Savior, that you don't wait to walk out of here. That you accept him for who Jesus is. Not for what you know about him, or not what you've heard about him, but who he actually is in your life. I also wanted to extend that invitation with purity too. There was some reason why God allowed 2 extra rings to be in that bag today. And we said it before we got here, that we would announce that if there's anyone in this room, I don't care that you didn't go through the series with us, we don't care that you didn't do all the 6 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever we did. But if there's anyone in here that's never made that commitment to remain pure until marriage, that wants to make that commitment, we also want you to line back up there. Even if there's more than 2, we'll go personally buy you the ring. You know, don't do it because the ring's not there. If there's anyone new here that wants to make that commitment, please go back there and do so. And we'll call you guys up, and then we'll go on with the ceremony. But I'm gonna call these all of them up, and then we're going to continue with everything, and then we're just gonna celebrate what God's gonna do in everyone's life today. So first is Alani Beard. Morgan Tipton. And then Sarah Bakari. And then last but not least, Hannah Hunsinger. I'm going to explain what this purity ring means to each and every one of you guys. The purity ring symbolizes the commitment to stay pure until marriage. A purity ring, also called an abstinence ring or a promise ring, is a promise unto the Lord to remain pure until you enter into a godly marriage. These rings are made up of precious metals purified with the heat of many fires. And many times you will feel that heat and fire when temptation comes your way. But the word of the Lord says in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, that no temptation has taken over except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. This ring is an ancient symbol, so perfect and simple. It has no beginning and it has no end. It is a circle for love that is given and comes back around again. The ring also represents Christ's endless love for us. And I want you guys to understand right here that this ring is not a shield of protection for you guys. Many will still tempt you, and many will still try and take that ring off of you. And it's your choice to remain pure, and you will only reach that goal if your eyes remain on Jesus. Psalms 119:9 says, how can a young person stay on the path of purity? And it says, by living according to your word. So for us, I just want to say that I'm proud of every one of you guys for making this commitment. There's literally no greater plan in your lives than what God has planned out for you already. We love you guys. When we first took over youth ministry, I shared with Pastor, and I'm just being transparent. The hardest part for youth ministry for me was I did not know how to love people that were not my family. But now it's like I don't know how to explain the love I have for my family. It's become so real. It's become so when I give these rings, you guys say, when your parents put these rings on your finger, I feel this connection isn't my youth kids. This connection is my kids. This connection is the love that we have for you guys is so strong. That we are proud of you guys, that we will be in your corner for everything. We will keep you accountable just like you kept us accountable. We will do everything in our might to be there for you for every situation that we can. I've said to you many times, call me at 3 in the morning and half you guys do it. It's crazy. But you can still always reach out to us whenever you guys need us. So I want all of the students to look at Katie and I real quick. And I want you guys to repeat this after us. Believing that the Bible is true. Come on, say it louder than that. I can say it
way louder than that.
Yeah. Believing that the Bible is true and trusting God's plan for my life, I make a commitment to God, to myself, to my family, to my friends, to my future spouse, to my future children, for a lifetime of purity, including sexual abstinence, from this day until the day I enter a biblical marriage. And then now I want the parents to face me and repeat this after me. Believing that the Bible is true and accepting God's plan for a parent, make a commitment to encourage you in your walk with Christ, to challenge you, to continue growing with Him, to keep you accountable to your commitment for purity, to set an example for you with my own life and actions. May this ring be a reminder of your commitment today, that we love you and we are proud of you. And you may put that ring on your children's fingers. Now I need all of you guys up here to face your church, to face out the congregation, and I need the congregation to stand. And now you guys repeat this after me. As your church family, we commit ourselves to encourage you, to strengthen you, to challenge you, to disciple you, to bless you, to pray for you, and to cheer you on as you live a life of faith and purity. We also commit ourselves as an example for you. We love you, and we're proud of you.
Yes.
Sarah, you guys are gonna come here. I'm coming. Today, these rings are given to you guys from the Crossing Youth Ministry, from the Crossing Church, from friends and family who love you and support you in this commitment. Wear it with the knowledge that your purity is for God's glory. And on your wedding night or during your wedding ceremony, give this ring to your spouse as a celebration of promises given and promises kept. May it also be a symbol of your continued sexual purity, even in your marriage. Once again, we love you. We're going to have you guys all sign these certificates now, and then we're going to close out with Pastor Tim Bishop covering us in prayer.
Was the best thing about it.
So
You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, your love came for me. You have been so, so good to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leads the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you're giving yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
Before we pray, I'm going to ask Jasmine, Hope, and Lex if they would come up here at this time. I'm going to have you just stand facing our young people today. I'm going to ask you to pray. I'm going to ask you to be the one to pray tonight. I want you three to stand up. What an example. I was overwhelmed. I was absolutely overwhelmed. My wife and I sat there crying. In the world we live in today, for you to sit and there, she has said. And I just ask God's covering to remain over you. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Edward, would you pray for us?
Father God, I thank you for each of these kids that are here today, Lord, these young people that are giving their hearts and their lives to you. Thank you, Jesus. God, what a privilege and an honor. An honor to serve you, to give their lives, Lord, to be used by you. Father God, I pray a hedge of protection over each of them, Lord God, over their hearts and their minds, Lord, as they live their teenage lives and into their adult lives, Lord God. God, I pray that they would remember that promise, Lord God, of purity. Lord, that they've given to you, Lord, I pray that you would protect them, God. Send people across their path, Lord God, that are going to protect them and keep them pure, Lord God, that are going to hold them to a higher standard than the standard of this world. Lord, I thank you for their hearts, Lord God. I pray that they would surrender, Lord, their entire lives to you, Lord, that you would protect them and keep them safe. Father God, that you would guard their hearts and their minds, even from relationships, God, that are not of you. Lord, I pray that they would only give their hearts to the man or the woman of God that you would place for them, God, for such a time as this. Father, I pray that you would send leaders and mentors, Lord God, that are going to be there, that are going to be there in the midst of the temptation, God, that are going to be covering them in prayer. God, I pray that you would surround them, like your word says, with songs of deliverance, God, that they would remember your word in the times of temptation, God, that they would rise above the temptation, Lord, that you would keep them pure, Lord God, not just in sexual purity, God, but just in their lives, God, that their hearts would remain pure and in love with you, Lord. I thank you, God, and I praise you, Jesus.
God, I just come before you, Father God, and I just cover this youth group that is in front of me, Lord Jesus, and I cover their families as well, Lord Jesus. I pray, Father God, that they would not listen to this world and what the people say, Father God, and what their friends may say, and what the people that do not know you say, Lord Jesus, but that they would look to you and to your word, Father God. I pray, Lord Jesus, that your voice upon them would be louder and bigger than what people are saying around them, Father God. Yes. That whatever that is spoken to them, Father God, whatever lies is spoken to them, whatever word that is not from you, Lord Jesus, that if it is not from you, Lord God, let them know that, Father God. And I pray, Father God, that they would not remember, Lord Jesus, and that it would be going one ear and out the other just as fast as it came, Father God, and that they would just look to your word, Father God. I pray, Lord Jesus, that you would keep them pure, Father God, and I come in agreement with, like Jasmine said, Father God, that not just sexually pure, Father God, but purity, Father God, with alcohol, with drugs, whatever that may be, Lord Jesus. I pray, they just stand on your word, Father God, they would just stand on your foundation, Father God. Let them remember this day, Father God. Let them remember the messages, the testimonies, Lord Jesus, that was spoken in you, Father God, and let that be an encouragement, Lord Jesus. I just pray, Father God, that this would be in their hearts, Lord Jesus, that you will just protect them and keep covering them, Father God. I pray, Lord Jesus, that they would continue to walk in your grace, Father God. I pray, Lord Jesus, that they would continue to walk in your peace, Lord Jesus, and that you would just continue to be with them, continue to strengthen them, Lord Jesus, continue to encourage them, Father God. And I just pray all of this in Jesus' name.
Father, I thank you that these kids are willing, that they took the decision themselves today to choose to remain pure and to have the one that you have selected for them. I thank you for their open hearts, Lord. I thank you, Father, that as they go on this journey with you, that they know that through it all, through the struggles, through the temptations, that you are with them in the midst of it, that you live in them. And I pray, Holy Spirit, that you strengthen them through their inner man, that you guide and direct their minds and their hearts, not today, not tomorrow, but for the rest of their life, until they are with the one that you have for them. I pray, Holy Spirit, that when they are faced with trials and temptations, that you will cover their ears from the whispers and the lies of the enemy, that you will silence those voices in their head, telling them that they should quit, telling them that, oh, this is just the in crowd, this is what I have to roll with. No. I pray that you just cover their ears from every lie of the enemy right now, silence every voice in Jesus' name, every fear. I pray, Holy Spirit, that you lead them, and that when they're facing struggles, when they're facing temptations, when they don't know where to turn, when they don't know who to look to, that they look to you, that they call on you as their counselor, their mighty counselor, their healer, their teacher, the one who directs and guides them. And I just thank you, Father, for what you're doing. I thank you that you will get the glory through this. And I just thank you for what's to come. I thank you for the lives of the people. I pray, Father God, that the people that you place in their life, that they're around, that you will use their testimony, their decision that they made to affect others in their schools, others in their lives, Lord, with the decision that they made today. And I thank you, Lord. I pray and I thank you that they are covered in your grace. I pray and plead your blood, Father, from the top of their head to the soles of their feet. From the moment they leave this church, I know that the enemy is already going to be out there with things on technology and things on TV and things in this world that is just so waiting to corrupt them and to pull them away from the decision they made today. But I pray, Father God, that everything that you did in their lives today, that you seal it in Jesus' name. Amen.
This has been a celebration, a ceremony today, and we just praise God for it. We want to tell you today, young people, that we're so proud of you. We are so proud of you. We're proud of the parents that supported them today and have come together, and we pray for you. I want to say end with the prayer from the Psalms. May the words of my mouth. Let's declare that together. Father, as we leave from this place, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen, amen, and amen.